Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Let's picture this together for a moment. Have you ever been chatting with your grandkids and suddenly blanked on what they just said? I bet many of us, especially after 65, have felt our ears catch the words, but our minds wander off somewhere else. Or we want to say something, but the words just slip away. Don't worry. Today, I'm excited to share 6 simple ways to strengthen your listening and communication skills, keeping your mind clear and your connection strong with the people around you. These aren't tricky tips. They're small, practical steps anyone can take to make life richer and more meaningful. First, let me tell you about Margaret, a dear friend of mine from Texas. She's 67, but when you meet her, her eyes light up with every conversation. I met her one summer afternoon, rocking on her porch swing with a cool glass of lemonade in hand. I asked, "Margaret, how you always listen to your grandkids so eagerly?" She smiled, her voice warm. "Honey, I've learned to really listen, not just with my ears, but with my whole mind." That got me curious. Really listen? What did she mean? She explained that after 65, she noticed she sometimes missed things because her mind was busy elsewhere, thinking about yesterday's meal or what's next on her list. So she started with the first way, creating a quiet space to focus. Margaret shared that whenever she chats, she picks a peaceful spot, maybe her porch, where the breeze brushes through her silver hair, or the living room with the TV off. She said, "When it's quiet, I hear every word my grandkids say, clear as birds singing outside." I could picture it. Soft sunlight spilling across the porch, Margaret sitting there, her ears open to every sound. That quiet space doesn't just help her hear better. It clears her mind, like all the clutter just fades away. Scientists agree, too. When we cut down background noise, our brains don't have to juggle extra sounds, leaving more energy to listen and remember. I read about a doctor in the U.S. who said older folks chatting in quiet spots often recall more, like a new friend's name or a story their grandkids shared. But here's the twist. Margaret doesn't stop there. Her second way is breathing slowly to stay sharp. I used to think, breathing? What's special about that? We do it all the time, right? But sitting with her, she showed me. Before a chat, I breathe in slow through my nose, count to 4, then out just as slow, count to 4 again. She said it's like wiping her mind clean, ready to take in every word. I tried it right then. In, out, and wow. My head felt lighter, like I'd drop a heavy bag. Margaret chuckled. "See? Just a few breaths, and I hear better. I even remember my grandson's birthday." Science backs her up. Slow breathing calms your heart rate, sends more blood to your brain, and boosts the areas for hearing and memory. A researcher in the U.S. once said just 5 minutes of slow breathing daily can sharpen focus in older adults, helping them not only hear clearly but respond quicker in talks. For Margaret, she does this before her grandkids visit. A few minutes on that porch swing, breathing deep, and she's set to soak up their endless stories without missing a beat. I remember Margaret asking me once, "Ever feel like you're hearing but not really getting it?" I nodded. Who hasn't had that moment, especially as age slows us down a bit? She smiled kindly. A quiet spot and a few breaths, and you'll see a big difference. Her words warmed me. Every minute we take to ready our minds is a door opening to better listening and talking. If you ever wanted to hear your grandkids clearer or chat with more confidence, why not give these 2 ways a try? So, we got our first 2 steps, a quiet space and slow breathing. But Margaret's story doesn't end here. Next time, I'll share another way she uses to make every conversation even more delightful. Welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad you're here with me again. Last time, we walked with Margaret to the first 2 ways to boost our listening and communication skills after 65, finding a quiet space and breathing slowly to sharpen our minds. I can still feel that lightness from try her breathing trick, like my head cleared up to catch every word. But Margaret's story doesn't stop there. Today, I want to share another way she makes every conversation come alive, focusing on a single keyword while listening. Have you ever wondered how to keep up with your grandkids' long, winding stories without getting lost? I used to think it was tough, until Margaret showed me a simple trick that works wonders. I caught up with Margaret again one crisp fall morning, golden leaves drifting across her porch. She was on her trusty swing, but this time her little grandson was beside her, chattering about school. I noticed how intently she listened, her eyes sparkling with every word he said. I asked, "Margaret, how do you never miss a thing?" She smiled gently, her voice warm. "Honey, I focus on one keyword in this story." That piqued my curiosity. A keyword? What did she mean? She explained that when her grandson rambles, fast and full of energy, she picks out one key word to anchor her mind, like friends or games. She said, "When I hold on to that word, I don't drift off, and I can even recall the whole tale afterward." I pictured it. The boy's high-pitched voice ringing through the porch, Margaret sitting still, like she's plucking a tiny gem from a rushing stream of words. She admitted that before, her mind would wander mid-story, especially as age dulled her focus a bit. But since using this trick, she hears so much clearer. I asked, "How do you pick the right word?" She laughed heartily. "Honey, I just listen the first few seconds, and whatever stands out, I grab. Today it's teacher." Here's the twist. That little trick not only helps her listen, but lets her chat back naturally, like she stepped right into his world. I had to try it myself. One day, my daughter dropped by, bubbling about her weekend trip. Instead of letting my mind roam like usual, I latched on to beach. She kept mentioning waves and sand. I quietly held that word in my head. And guess what? When she finished, I didn't just remember. I asked, "You said the waves were huge. Did they soak your shoes?" She blinked, surprised. "Mom, you really remembered?" I smiled to myself, thanking Margaret. Just one tiny word acted like an anchor, keeping my mind from drifting away. Scientists have an explanation for this, too. They say focusing on a keyword tells your brain to filter out extra noise, boosting attention and memory. A study in the U.S. found that older folks using this anchor trick while listening understand more deeply and respond faster in conversations. I read about a lady in California who picked flowers when her son talked about his garden, then amazed him by recalling every detail. For Margaret, she says it doesn't just help her hear, it makes talks more fun. She told me, her voice bubbling. "Yesterday, I remember my grandson's friend's name just by anchoring to soccer. He wouldn't stop talking about the game." What I love most about Margaret is how naturally she weaves this into her day. She doesn't overthink it. She just listens, picks a word, and lets her mind do the rest. One time, she anchored the sun when her daughter shared a walk, then asked questions that lit up her daughter's face. She said, "Honey, listening's like picking pretty pebbles on a beach. Grab the right one and the whole story shines." Hearing her, I realized we don't have to strain. One small word can keep us in the moment, helping us understand and be understood. I remember Margaret asking me once, "Ever wish you could hear your grandkids without saying, 'What was that again?'" I nodded. Who doesn't want that, especially as age slows our ears and minds a little? She smiled. "Just anchor to a word, and it'll all feel easier." Her words warmed me. Every keyword we pick is a door opening to better listening and connecting. Why not try it next time your grandkids start a story? So, there's our third way, focusing on a keyword. But Margaret's got more up her sleeve. Next time, I'll share another trick she uses to make her words clear and captivating. Hey everyone, let's dive right back into our journey together. We just left Margaret's porch, where she used the keyword soccer to recall her grandson's friend's name, a little trick I'm still amazed by. But our adventure doesn't pause there. Today, I want to introduce you to George, a quiet man from Oregon who showed me the fourth way to make listening and communication after 65 even better, pausing a moment before replying. Have you ever felt your words rush out half-formed? I've been there too, until George taught me the power of a short silence. I met George one rainy afternoon, sitting by the fireplace in his cozy wooden cabin, the faint scent of burning wood filling the air. He's 68, but his voice is slow and steady, every word carefully chosen. I asked, "George, how do you always answer so perfectly?" He chuckled softly, his eyes kind. "Honey, I take a little pause before I speak." That got me curious. A pause? That's it? He nodded and shared that after 65, he noticed he'd jumped to reply to his kids or grandkids, stumbling over words or missing the mark. So he started pausing, just 2 or 3 seconds, to think first. He said, "When I stop for a bit, I hear better and my words come out clearer." I picture it. Rain pattering on the windows, firelight flickering, George listening to his son talk about work, then pausing before responding. He said, "Guess what?" Just a few seconds, and I find an answer that's spot on and even makes him smile. I was stunned. Could a simple pause really transform a conversation? He laughed heartily. "Try it, you'll see." I gave it a go that day. My granddaughter was chatting about a school test, and instead of jumping in, I paused, counted to 3 in my head, then said, "Sounds great. Were you happy with that high score?" Her eyes lit up. "Grandpa, you totally get me." I silently thanked George. That tiny break made my words so much fuller. Scientists have a take on this too. They say pausing before replying gives your brain time to process what you've heard, linking it to your thoughts. A U.S. study found older folks who pause a few seconds in conversations respond more accurately and fumble less. I read about a man in Florida who paused when his son asked about home repairs, then gave an answer so clear his son said, "Dad, you sound like a pro." For George, he says this habit not only boosts his communication, but keeps him calm. He shared warmly, "Yesterday I paused when my son asked about the garden, then recalled a pruning tip I nearly forgot. He said I was impressive." What I love most about George is how naturally he uses these pauses. He doesn't make a big deal, just stops, takes a light breath, and thinks. One day, he paused when his grandson asked about birds outside, then told a childhood tale that had the boy hooked. He said, "Honey," pausing is like hitting a pause button. You hear sharper and speak truer. Hearing him, I realize we don't need to rush. A few quiet seconds can give our words weight, making talks more meaningful. I remember George asking me once, "Ever catch yourself speaking before you thought it through?" I nodded. Who hasn't? Especially as age slows us down a touch. He smiled. "Just pause, and it'll all feel different." His words warmed me. Every little silence we take is a door opening to better listening and connecting. Why not try pausing in your next chat? So, there's our fourth way, pausing before replying. But George has more wisdom to share. Stick with me to uncover another way to spice up your conversations. Hey everyone, let's keep rolling right along together. We just stepped away from George's cozy cabin, where he showed us how a quick pause before replying can make our words clearer and warmer. I'm still amazed at how that little silence sharpened my own responses. But today, I want to take you somewhere new. To meet Linda in Minnesota, who taught me the fifth way to boost our listening and communication skills after 65, asking simple questions to dig deeper. Ever wish your chats went beyond just skimming the surface? I used to feel that way too, until Linda showed me the magic of a small question. I met Linda one winter morning, snow blanketing her yard, as she sat by the window with a steaming cup of tea. She's 66, but her voice is soft and lively, like every conversation's an adventure. I asked, "Linda, how you always get your grandkids so well?" She smiled, eyes twinkling. "Honey, I ask simple questions." That piqued my curiosity. Simple questions? What's that about? She explained that after 65, she noticed she'd hear her kids, but not fully grasp their point, especially when they talked a mile a minute. So she started asking short things like, "What part did you like best?" or "How'd that make you feel?" She said, "When I ask, I don't just hear, I get what's in their hearts." I pictured it. Faint sunlight cutting through the snowy view. Linda sitting there, listening to her daughter talk about a market trip, then gently asking, "What did you enjoy most there?" Her daughter beamed, spilling details she'd skipped before. Linda said, "Guess what?" One little question, and I could feel her mood like opening a tiny door. I was blown away. Could asking really shift the whole conversation? She nodded. "Try it. They'll talk more and you'll remember better." I tested it that day. My grandson was raving about a soccer game, so I asked, "Who was your favorite player?" He lit up, rattling off the team in a stunning goal. I recalled every bit. Science backs Linda up, too. Researchers say asking simple questions sparks your brain to process what you hear more deeply, boosting memory and connection. A U.S. study found older folks who ask short questions in talks understand others better and recall small details later. I read about a lady in New York who asked her son, "What made you happiest today?" and remembered his whole story about a peaceful morning. For Linda, she says this trick not only sharpens her listening but brings her closer to her family. She shared, her voice bubbling. "Yesterday, I asked my granddaughter, 'What color did you like in that drawing?' She talked for an hour, and I remembered every stroke." What I love most about Linda is how naturally she asks. No pressure, just chatting like a friend. One day, she asked her son, "Anything fun at work today?" and got a full rundown on co-workers she'd never met. She said, "Honey, asking's like lighting a little lamp. It brightens a story in their heart." Hearing her, I realize we don't need to be master analysts. One small question can unlock so much, making our talks richer. I remember Linda asking me once, "Ever want to know more but feel shy to ask?" I nodded. Who hasn't hesitated, especially as age slows us a tad? She smiled. "Just one question and you'll feel so much closer." Her words warmed me. Every question we ask is a door opening to better listening and connecting. Why not try a simple question in your next chat? So there's our fifth way, asking simple questions. But Linda's got more gems to share. Stick with me as we uncover another way to chat with confidence. Hey everyone, let's pick up right where we left off together. We just stepped away from Linda's snowy window, where she used simple questions like, "What part did you like best?" to unlock a whole world of her grandkids' feelings. I'm still blown away by how she recalled every stroke of her granddaughter's drawing just by asking about colors. But today, I want to take you to a sunny spot, to meet Thomas in Arizona, who showed me the sixth way to make listening and communication after 65 even better, repeating the main idea in your own words. Ever want to be sure you've got it right? I used to worry I'd misheard until Thomas taught me this little gem. I met Thomas one warm afternoon, sitting on a garden bench surrounded by cute little cacti pots. He's 69, but his voice is deep and vibrant, like every word carries something special. I asked, "Thomas, how do you always catch every detail your grandkids share?" He laughed heartily, eyes gleaming. "Honey, I repeat the gist of my own words." That got me curious. Repeat the gist? What's that? He explained that after 65, he sometimes wasn't sure he'd caught everything, especially when his kids used fast or unfamiliar words. So he started rephrasing what he heard, like, "So, you mean today was really fun, right?" He said, "When I say back, I check if I got it, and they know I'm really tuned in." I pictured it, golden sun spilling over the garden, Thomas sitting there, listening to his son talk about a new project, then calmly saying, "So you just wrapped up something big at work, right?" His son nodded, grinning. "Exactly, Dad, you nailed it." Thomas said, "Guess what?" Just repeating it. And I remember longer, plus, he opened up with even more. I was stunned. Could rephrasing really do all that? He nodded. "Give it a shot. It's like a bridge." I tried it that day. My granddaughter was chatting about art class. So I said, "You mean your teacher loved your painting, right?" Her face lit up. "Yep, Grandpa. Let me tell you more." I silently thanked Thomas. A few words, and I understood so much clearer. Science has an answer for this, too. Researchers say rephrasing the main idea makes your brain process it again, strengthening memory and focus. A U.S. study found older folks who repeat back in talks recall more accurately and mix up less. I read about a man in Texas who said, "So you mean the rain ruined the picnic, right?" and remembered every rainy detail his son shared. For Thomas, he says this trick not only sharpens his listening but brings his family closer. He shared, voice buzzing. "Yesterday I said, 'So you mean this tree's growing fast, right?' My grandson told me all about how he waters it. What I love most about Thomas is how naturally he does it. No fuss, just friendly rephrasing. He doesn't turn it into a quiz, just gentle words like chatting with a pal. One day, he told his daughter, "So you mean this weekend's packed, right?" and got a full rundown of plans he hadn't heard. He said, Honey, repeating's like holding up a mirror. It reflects their story and makes it shine. Hearing him, I realize we don't need to fret about getting it wrong. A quick rephrase can confirm we're on track and warm up the talk. I remember Thomas asking me once, "Ever worry you've misheard but don't dare say?" I nodded. Who hasn't? Especially as age slows our ears and minds a bit. He smiled. Just say it back, and you'll feel so much surer. His words warmed me. Every time we repeat is a door opening to better listening and connecting. Why not try rephrasing the gist in your next chat to surprise your grandkids? So, there's our sixth way, repeating the main idea in your own words. But our journey's got one last stop to tie it all together. Stick with me to recap and find some inspiration for amazing conversations ahead. Hey everyone, let's wrap up our journey together right where we left off. We just stepped out of Thomas's sunny garden, where he showed us how repeating the main idea, like, "So you mean today was fun, right?" helps him understand and connect. I'm still smiling at how rephrasing my granddaughter's story made me catch every detail. Today, I want to take us back through all 6 wonderful ways we've explored, from Margaret to Thomas, to see how we can bring them into our daily lives, making listening and communication after 65 clearer and more meaningful. Let's rewind to the start. We met Margaret in Texas, who taught me to create a quiet space to focus, just a porch corner with a breeze rustling through. And she heard every word her grandkids said. I can still see her on that swing, soft sunlight on her silver hair, remembering a birthday thanks to that piece. Then she added slow breathing to stay sharp. I tried inhaling to 4, exhaling to 4, and felt my mind refresh, ready for every sound. Next, she showed me to anchor with a keyword, soccer or beach, to stay on track in long tails. One little word became my anchor, letting me recall my daughter's whole trip. Then we visited George in Oregon, who taught me to pause before replying. I picture him by the fireplace, rain tapping outside, and just a few seconds of quiet made his words warm and clear. I paused when my grandson chatted, and suddenly my answer lit up his face. After that, Linda in Minnesota brought simple questions. What part did you like best? Or how'd that feel? To dig deeper, I asked my grandson about a game, and who's your favorite player? Got me the team names and more. Finally, Thomas in Arizona showed me to repeat the gist. So you mean it was a big day, right? To confirm and connect, I rephrased my granddaughter's art tale, and she spilled details I'll never forget. These 6 ways, quiet space, slow breathing, keywords, pausing, simple questions, and repeating, aren't complicated, are they? They don't ask us to overhaul our lives, just a few minutes and a bit of care. So day by day, our ears and minds get sharper. I remember Margaret saying, listening isn't just for your ears, it's how you open up to others. George said every pause is a chance to say something meaningful. Linda laughed. One little question lights up the whole story. Thomas added gently, repeating shows him you're really there. These aren't just tips. They're reminders that communication is a gift we give ourselves and those around us. Science agrees too. Researchers say these habits, cutting noise, breathing deep, rephrasing, spark your brain, boosting focus and memory. An expert in the U.S. shared that older folks using these simple tricks not only hear better, but hold on to little moments longer. A grandchild's smile, or a sunny day's tale. For me, the real magic is we don't need to be experts, just willing to try, one small step at a time, and soon every chat becomes a joy, a deeper tie to those we love. But what I want you to take away today isn't just these 6 ways, it's the spirit behind them. Imagine sitting with your grandkids, finding a quiet spot, breathing deep, anchoring to a word, pausing to think, asking a question, then repeating their gist. Doesn't life feel warmer? I recall Thomas asking me, want every talk to be a memory worth keeping? I nodded. Who doesn't? Especially when age sometimes fuzzes our ears and minds. He smiled, then try it bit by bit. His words moved me. Every little way we learn is a door opening for our hearts and minds, letting us not just hear and speak, but live fuller in each moment. So, we've walked through 6 amazing ways, from Margaret's porch to Thomas's garden. But I hope you don't stop here. Try one today. Maybe breathe slow when your kids visit, or ask a question when your grandkids chatter. If these help, drop a little note below. I'd love to hear your stories, just like you've heard mine. And if you enjoyed this journey, hit like and subscribe so I can keep sharing more goodies. Life's a string of conversations, and I believe as long as we keep listening, keep connecting, every day's worth living. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next adventure.